evening, everybody. My name is Frances Kath-Benedice, and welcome to our COVID-19 business webinar. Today is Tuesday, July 21st, and we're very excited to welcome Soledad Tanner, founder and CEO of STC Consulting. It's a business and financial management consulting firm to help navigate the choppy financial waters of COVID-19, and we're so happy she's going to talk to us about that today. Soledad, are you there? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to talk to all your friends and members of the Chamber. I appreciate the offer.
You're so welcome. You know, right now during COVID-19, it's so important, and a lot of business were caught off guard. And so by having you here helping us get ready for profit and productivity is so needed. So we're very grateful to have you. So let's go ahead and get you started.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. As you all know, we're going through right now through a complicated time where our businesses really require us to make on time and intelligent decisions about the direction we're going to go. And the intention of this webinar is to give all of you some tips that you can use for your business, and so we can all together move forward and not only survive but also thrive. So I would like to start with the top 10 lessons learned after we learned that COVID was here and was here to stay, and obviously for at least for this year, right? And then the government allow us to start applying for the PPP loans and the idle loan, the emergency loans. So what happened was small businesses start applying one by one. And as you know, at the very beginning was a little bit confusing. The rules were being fine-tuned and they changed. But when they finally settle and businesses start applying, these are my top 10 observations of what happened with clients and friends and members who were trying to apply. And either they had a difficult time, they got rejected, they couldn't progress to the funding part. So these are the top things that I observed. And the reason I'm sharing is not to talk again about something bad, but also for us to learn what to do different going forward. So number one reason, income tax. The base of the calculation of the loans was past performance. And a document that is considered really solid, it was your income tax because it's an official document. Many businesses had not done the 2019, and it's reasonable at the very beginning of the year because we were only April. But as we move forward, I started realizing that many people have not done 2018 and income tax. And then the government gave us an extension to July 15, and many people waited until the very last minute to complete your income tax. So the recommendation here going forward is, please, we don't wait until the very end to complete an income tax. And I highly recommend all of us to be on time with our income tax so we can apply to these and potentially future loans, okay? Number two, many businesses didn't have a bookkeeping system. And if you are in business, you need to know, for serious business, right? You need to know your financial results, not only during the time of income tax, but also during your monthly, every month, every 3 months, every 6 months. You need to make business decisions based on actual numbers derived from your business. And having a proper bookkeeping system allows you to have real numbers that allows you to make intelligent decisions. So what I noticed in many small businesses is that they wanted to do it themselves. They had purchased the bookkeeping, the QuickBooks in case they decided to use that subscription. They had opened it, they start doing a couple of things, and then they didn't, they got confused and they stopped. And there is no reason why in 2020 we still have a paper and receipts in a folder. Please, technology help us with easy to follow. And if you don't want to do it, and I highly recommend you hire a professional that can do it for you. They can do it remotely. There are many softwares that allows you, but not having a bookkeeping system was a problem because we couldn't figure out the performance of January, February, and March, which was the base for the PPP loan to prove that in the future months we were not selling, our business was not producing. Number 3, documentation. It is, let's say you have a bookkeeping system and let's say you have the expenses, but we also need documentation that allows us to prove that the expenses that we are listing as part of the PPP are real. Many cases I noticed that businesses were renting offices or spaces from family or friends, and there was absolutely no contract and no receipt, and many of the payments were done by cash. I highly recommend you do most of your payments or all of your payments in a way that you can prove that you have paid the payments, either with a credit card or with a check. And I also highly recommend that you have a contract for your rent, which will be the main documentation for you to add when we go into the forgiveness process later. The same with utilities. Many businesses had their utility bills in their personal name, not in their business name. So this is important because these are elements that are checked when you are going to put your water bill, your electricity bill, and it's not in your business name. Please put everything in your business name. Please have proper documentation. And if you were lucky enough to get your PPP loan, start right now with a file with all the documents right there. So when we start the forgiveness process, it's easier for you to put together all the documentation. Number 4, cash payments. I mentioned that with the rent, but I'm gonna mention it again because it's a big no-no. If you pay somebody in cash, if you paid a contractor in cash, if you paid your rent cash, if you paid your utilities, there is no proof that you have made that expense. So help me help you, because how do I prove that those are business expenses? Very at this time, I don't recommend cash payments. Everything has to be done, even if it's a small amount, in a way that we can present documentation and we can prove that we have made that expense. Number 5, personal expenses versus business expenses. This is another no-no. If your business is new and you have started the last 1 or 2 years and you're still kind of figuring out what you want to do, many people still handle their business expenses with their personal expenses together. And if you add to that there is no bookkeeping system, when we are facing a situation like a PPP, when we have to put all the business expenses together, really it's a manual process to isolate and separate what is business versus personal. And then not only is very time consuming, but it's not really, your credibility is not there, because obviously there is always a possibility to make a human error, right? So handle your business with your business checking account, with your business credit card, with your business debit card, and your personal expenses separate. So at least I recommend to have 2 checking accounts. And if you have, hopefully you have a saving account for, at least for your personal, and 2 different credit cards, one for personal and one for business, and the same with your debit card. It's clean, and it's very easy, quickly to summarize the expenses and figure out what is business expenses. Number 6, also employees versus contractors. So here I'm gonna very quickly go over the difference. Employees is somebody who work for you, and at the end of the year they sign the W-9, and at the end of the year you give them a W-2 as proof of income. That is the business responsibility. A contractor is somebody who works for you for a project on a temporary basis, and at the end of the year, they receive a 1099. So there is, the IRS has a list of questions, of 20 questions, that allows you to, that helps you decide if the person that you're hiring is a contractor or employee. But there are really three main questions that you need to ask when you are deciding. Is this person working only for me, or do they have more clients, right? If they have more clients, let's say a plumber, let's say a bookkeeper, let's say a painter, you are not their only source of income. They have multiple clients, therefore they are a contractor. Do they have their own equipment to perform the services? So, or are you giving the equipment to the person? So if they have their own equipment and they have multiple clients, then they are a contractor. And number three is the contractor allowed to do the work wherever they can, or do you determine the times and the days that they do the work? If they have the freedom to determine, they are a contractor. So what I'm trying to say with this, and there are more, but these are the basics. What I'm trying to say with this is the determination of if a person is an employee or a contractor, it's based on the work that they do and the relationship they have with you, not if you would like them to be a contractor or an employee. And why I'm saying all of this, because when the PPP came, it's the payroll protection, it was important to see who was in payroll. And a lot of businesses had all their workforce as contractors. And that they couldn't include them as employees because either they are contractors or they are employees. So take this opportunity to go over the relationship that you have with your workforce and make sure if they are employees to pay them as employees. So in the future, if we have another case like this, you can have the cost of that people included in your PPP. Number 7, multiple and incomplete applications to the SBA or to the bank. I saw this happening also in significant number of cases. People went to a bank, apply, went to another bank, apply, went to another bank, apply, then went to the SBA, apply 1, 2, 3. Then they start getting rejections. I have to admit that at the very I see why it happened, because we were doing it as SBA was building the website, and the rules were being created, but the PPPs is still open. And so what I want to say right now until August the 8th is that if you start an application, don't start another one because you didn't hear from them, because if you do that, it's going to get rejected. So you are waiting for something that is not going to happen. What we need to do is go back and figure out why the first application and the only application didn't process, and then submit any missing documentation that it's missing for that one application, right? So that's a recommendation, because the last month I saw at least 10 clients who had applied originally and they applied again, and it just it didn't work. Only one application per Social Security or per business. Number 8 is there's one thing we learned this time it was important to know somebody at the bank and have a banker or having a banking relationship. If you didn't have that before, there's nothing we can do about that. But now going forward, I highly recommend you have a business card of your banker and go and introduce yourself and tell him or her what you do and what you're doing, because this is not a short-term event. I think we're going to be recovering for this for a while, and it's important that you go there and you review your what you have, your accounts, your credit cards, your interest rates, potentially your line of credit and your loans, so that person will help you have a cohesive idea of what you have if you bank with one bank. And in the future, if something that we don't know happens, you have somebody that you can email and you can call. Number 9, cash management. For many, many business owners, this was the very first time in their life that they had a loan. And still, many are risk averse or didn't want to start a loan. So it's important that we talk about loans, good loans to grow your business, and how once you receive the money of this loan, you need to put it there and really have a plan of how you're going to handle this money. What is the best use of the money, and how can you make it last longer? How can you make, with this extra money, make your company more robust and put yourself in a position of success? So a loan is not a bad thing if you use it correctly. A loan is not something that proves that you haven't done things correctly. The loan at this point, the PPP loan, it's going to help you go through this time, and so you can come out of the other side and you can succeed after the market starts opening and moving faster. And point number 10 is that many people did not apply, or because they didn't have computer knowledge of how to do it, and which is okay. We always, there's always somebody that can help you, and also language barriers. Most of the loan, all of the documentation of the loan was in English. So if people spoke Vietnamese or Spanish or other languages, many of them decided not to apply because they had the language barrier. So it's important that if you know somebody who may not apply, that there's help for them too. And many people and many organizations are willing, and I've taken many of them to help them apply so their businesses can also survive. So I want to take a moment here. These are lessons learned. We don't want to dwell in the past, but we want to learn from this and make adjustments, so as we move forward, we are in a much better position to not only survive, but also to thrive in the future.
This is beautiful. This is great information. Thank you so much, Soledad. And for those of you who don't know, we partnered with Soledad, the Chamber did, to help reach a lot of small businesses here locally. So we were able, with your assistance, we're able to talk to them in the language of their preference and get to the bottom of what they needed in order to succeed. And we were able to connect and get some folks loans. Like you said, some people that didn't even think that they were eligible for one even got a small amount of loan that helped with rent, and every little bit helps right now. Anybody has questions, please put them in our Q&A or chat box, and we will gladly ask those to you. But Soledad, for a lot of small businesses who are maybe mom and pop shops who didn't have all of this information, and they're still hesitant right now because they think that, oh, I've got some money in the bank, and oh, I own my land. What advice can you give to them just to let them know that this is not going away, and that we all have to change our habits, even when it includes financial, but it includes marketing and other things like that?
My recommendation is to speak with a professional. Nobody's going to force you to do anything that you don't want to, but maybe in that conversation, you explore possibilities, and then we can list them. As you said, well, I own the land, I own the building, I have 3 months cash that I can survive, right? I don't have any debt, which is wonderful, and I applaud those businesses. But sometimes 3 months of cash flow, and maybe this year, is not going to be enough if you have no sales for the next 6 or 7 months. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend, if you are still kind of, I'm okay, which is, I applaud you, and I'm so happy, but maybe just have a sounding board that lets you see other angles that you may have not considered. And if you are okay, we want you to be okay for the rest of your life. So just approach a professional. And I had conversations with many people that say, I'm okay, I don't need it. But one or two of their principles was off. Like, I will be okay for 2 months, but this may last 2020 and maybe part of 2021. Obviously, we all want to get it done as soon as possible, but there are many unknowns and out of our control. And there was also a lot of, I have never had a loan and I don't want to have a loan, and I don't know if I should have a loan. So I think we just need to talk about this until the owner gets to a comfort level that it feels right for him or her.
I agree with that, because one of the people that we reached out to, they were not interested in a loan at that time, but checking back with them, they actually applied for an EIDL loan, not a PPP loan, but an EIDL loan. And what we hear is that with the EIDL loan, it's only a 1% payback, which is very, very good. And if you were to pay it early, there is no penalty. So for some of these small businesses, I think this company is using it to their advantage to maybe help the infrastructure of their business to get it ready for when things reopen and they're just ready to welcome more customers and more employees and things like that. Have you heard of things like this?
Yes, and also the money can be used. If you said, no, I'm perfectly fine, everything is perfect, no problem. Our market is changing. See, you and I are sitting here, and all the people listening, we're sitting here right now in Zoom doing a Facebook Live. Maybe 2 years ago, we will not even be doing this. So there is every crisis brings an evolution. And in every evolution, there's a new opportunity. And the market demands new products and services. So right now, if you the service of delivering food to your house or packages like Amazon, it's booming because there was a transformation in the market. So you as a business owner also have to adapt to that change of the market because your clients now need something different. So it's important that if your clients need something different, you can use part of that money to do a little bit of research or product development on new marketing campaign so the market knows that you are selling this new product that they need. Remember, we're always looking for a solution of a problem. So we need to keep asking, what is the new problem that the society has right now that I can service and that can be a solution for them?
And I think it could be as simple as for retail companies to do touchless payments, because I've gone to a couple of stores and I was impressed that they have touchless payments now, and just to put up the plastic barriers or whatever needs to be done to make people feel comfortable coming in. So I agree with you. I've got a couple of questions here that I wanted to ask you from our viewers. As a small business owner, I do everything. Can you provide counsel to the best practices for me on my paperwork, accounting, etc.?
Yeah, see, if you are a small business and you're wearing all the hats, I recommend that you use a software to make your business more efficient. Right now, we all have, with our telephones, we have really a walking computer. And many of the accounting systems have a picture, for example, a picture ability. So you go to a restaurant, you finish your dinner, you take a picture and it's uploaded into your QuickBooks. So you no longer do what you were doing 10 years ago, which is saving the receipts, put it in a folder, in an envelope, getting to the office and organizing and file them away. So I think keeping up with the technology, there's technology that really helps you improve the efficiency of your processes. So I recommend, number one, checking that. And number two, going to, for bookkeeping, going to start the process, but get some classes from a professional. Again, 1 or 2 or 3 hours of a quick startup onboarding. Because what happens if you don't have that profession, you have limited view of what you need to do. And if I explain you a flow, then you're free to go. And so you can handle your business knowing the numbers that you're making, if you're making money, right?
Yes, good point. Another question for Soledad is, can you speak to how I should prepare an application for the forgiveness option of the PPP loan?
So for the forgiveness option, I think we're a little earlier because they are still changing the rules. And the even I checked with Chase Bank yesterday, and it will be in August. But what can you do? So I don't want to give you specifics because the specifics may change. But what I can tell you, and probably there will be a future seminar for that. But what I can tell you right now is I highly recommend you open a simple folder. And in that simple folder, you include copies of your payroll reports and copies of your rent receipts and contracts, and copy of your utility bills that you use to apply. When you apply, you said, okay, how much do I need to apply for and how I'm going to use the money? And you said, my rent was 65%, and my payroll was 65%, my expenses, and then I had rent. So everything that you use to calculate how you were going to use the money is what I need now to start seeing the paper receipt or the copy receipt. So when the rules come, you pull this file and you can be done in 1 hour.
Oh, that's good. Get a head start. Another question is, right now, is it a good time to start a new business? And what steps would you recommend to do that?
So great, successful businesses have started in every crisis. And a crisis is a moment, it's a switch from one level to another level. So what I would like this person to ask is, what product or service I was thinking to start my business prior to the crisis, and what product and services I'm thinking to do now, and why. And I want this person to answer what problem is this product and services solving. So if you are selling, let's think about, if you are selling, let's think of a product, clothes, right? What product and services you're solving? You answer the question. How will that client get to that? If you are a lawyer, what product and services you're offering? Legal consulting or financial consulting, and why? Because the business need it. I'm gonna tell you now, in my case, the financial consulting, so many businesses have realized at that time that you don't need to be transnational or multinational to have a CFO, to have an expert in finance. Every business needs to have an expert in finance. And with that, because you need to know your profit, you need to know if you're making money, you need to see if your products are profitable, and you need to have numbers to switch and have a strategy to survive.
Great.
And thrive.
Great. And so do you have more slides you want to go over right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we lost the sharing. So
yes, we're gonna bring that back.
Perfect.
It's right back to you.
We can continue talking. So okay, that. So after we have gone over the top 10 lessons and things that to consider and things that we're not going to do going forward, right? I want you to think of this picture for a moment. I don't want you to run your business blindfolded. Imagine if you were to get into your car and you put your GPS and you're trying to get, I don't know, from the Woodlands to the Galleria, and you are blindfolded. You don't know where you're going. It's a very strong analogy, but it's what I tell my business owners. You need to know the numbers, because the numbers are the truth of your business. And then it's like you are removing your this piece of cloth, and now finally you get to see what comes in front of you, and you get to see what direction you want to go. So I'm going to, there's a delay right there. So I want to give you 15 quick tips, and write them down, because I want you to leave this hour with 3 things you're going to do different in your business. Okay, not all of them will apply to you, but if you leave this webinar with 3 actions for your business, we have done something today. So How do you improve your financial management? Number one, you need to talk about money. You do need to discuss your financial results every month, not every year, not every 2 years, not when you do taxes. Every month, you need to finish July, and you need to know how your July performance was. And we need to get this conversation within the group, the management group, as something natural. You know, this is like going to the gym. The first 2 weeks, everything is going to hurt. After that, you're going to need it, and you are not going to, you're going to think, how did I live without that? So we talk about having bookkeeping. If this is an area that you don't like, that you don't know, it's perfectly fine. This is a learn. We are not born finance ready. This is something that we learn. So if you try to read about it, or if you really don't like it, don't want to hire a professional that helps you one-to-one and coach you in this process. Number two, protect your cash flow. So it's very important that you determine who is going to get paid and when, and see that you have enough working capital to maintain your business. So even if you had an emergency loan or a PPP, then it's very important that you know how you're going to be using that money, and extending the life of your business is key. And we talk about already about forgiveness and documentation. Open your folder, put your documentation there. Let's wait until the final instructions for the forgiveness. Okay. Number three, understand your financial statements. And this is kind of the core of finance. There are three main financial statements: profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flows. And the three give you a different view. It's like seeing a house from different angles, you know, the front or the side or the back. That's also, we can go in details in a future seminar. For right now, I want you to know there are three financial statements, and you need to watch your bottom line every month. And you need to, obviously at this point, the profit and loss will tell you your expenses. Watch for expenses that you can put on hold, or you can reduce the service. Look for your subscriptions. Many subscriptions are only being used partially. And so you want to maximize the use of where you're paying. So take a look of the different services. Sometimes you don't like internet, you don't need so much of it, or different softwares and applications that you don't need all of the all of the premium service, right? Understand the difference between billing and collecting. If I bill today, I'm going to receive the money maybe in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on your payment terms. So it's not when you perform the job, it's not when you bill, but it's when you get the money in the bank to satisfy your obligations that it counts. So understand that there is a delay between billing and collections. And understand the frequency of income. Sometimes you have a clients that you bill them every month. So the fact that you sign a contract for 12 months and the contract is X amount of money doesn't mean that you have all that money now. It simply means that that is every month you will see 1/12 of it. Okay. Let's see if we go to the next page. It's perfect. So number 4. If you have high levels of debt at this point, I want you to bring all the statements for your credit cards, put them in front of you, create a summary, and I want the name, the amount, the interest rate, and the minimum payment. And you put all of that in a list, and then you sort them so you can at least start paying the most expensive or the higher interest rate credit cards first, and then the others later. If you cannot pay for any reasons, please pick up the phone and contact the lenders and work something out with them. Maybe you can get a line of credit, maybe you can get a different interest rate, maybe they can do something for you. But if they don't know you need help, they will not be able to help you. Number 5, develop multiple revenue streams. So if you have one product, think if that product is not selling that well, see and think if you can pre-package it or maybe make small presentations or small packages. Maybe you had before services that were for 6 months. Maybe you can do weekly packages. For example, the trainers at the gym. Maybe you have a cafeteria. You can offer a bundle or of 2 things, a combo. So think how you can get different revenue streams, and always watch and make sure each one of your products are profitable. When you have a combination of products, so you have, let's say, I always use the example of coffee and tea, and your coffee can be making a good profit, but your tea is making, or vice versa, is making little profit. The combined profitability looks good, but when you break it down in parts and you analyze the coffee by itself and the tea by itself, you see that you may have an opportunity to improve the profit, or either get rid of the product because it's bringing the combined profitability down. Okay. Number 6, this is big. Go and look for your budget and your forecast and check it again. Be realistic in the assumptions of what you can do from now to the end of the year at least, and update it and take a look, and that will help you in your strategy. What are you going to do mid-year? And we still have 6 months, and there's a lot of maneuvering that you can do from here to the end of the year if things are obviously different than they were before. Number 7, review your management report. So I said earlier that there were 3 financial reports, but also there are what I call management reports. So you need to know your accounts receivable, who owes you money, your accounts payables, people that you need to pay, your sales by customers, who are your clients this year. That list is so good because you pick up the phone and you need to be in constant contact, building a relationship with your clients, right? Also, who are your suppliers? Maybe in the past you started being a small purchaser, but now with the years you have become significant. You pick up the phone and call your suppliers and say, hey, I'm buying X amount of money from you. Give me better, give me a discount. Give me better payment terms. So that knowledge will help you negotiate. If your business has inventory, it's key that you manage your inventory. Some companies that I go and see have inventory for a year, or I try because of the producer is giving them a discount. They want to buy 5% or so. They buy in advance and they use all their cash to pay for that, but then they are left without cash for other things. So manage your inventory very, very careful. And number 9, review your marketing budget. So this needs to be reviewed, because in a way, this is not the time to go quiet and disappear from the market. People need to know that you're there, and people need to know that you're selling because you want them to buy your product. In the other side, you could have developed your marketing strategy for a different time, and maybe there are things that can wait to be spent the following year that this year are not so important. So take a look at them, review what you decide, and see how you can better optimize every dollar that you have. And review your prices. Maybe you have the opportunity to increase the price of your product or service because there's higher demand. Maybe you need to update the packaging. Instead of selling 1, 2, maybe you set a bundle of 10 or 12, or maybe each company is different. But it's important that you review if there is something that you can do to prices packages, because these directly affect your income, obviously. And the last 5 is, and the page has a little delay, but it will come. So build customer relationships. I cannot begin to tell you how important this is. You need to pick up the phone and call each one of your clients and say, hello, I am here, how can I help you? And that, even talking to them, not only you will build this loyalty, but also maybe on the phone, you will realize that there's something that they need that you can help them, or that they can recommend you to somebody else that needs your help. And or maybe they're sick and you know, you can do something for their families. But don't just pick up the phone and call. That is the best way to get new opportunities. And never forget to deliver always value to your client, because they need your product for that value added that is given them. If you have processes in your company, take a look if this is a good time and see if you can simplify it, because when you simplify it, you eliminate waste. So can you make it simpler? Is there new technology around that can be used? Review your workforce. Let's see how you are building your shift. Maybe there is a way that you can change the shifts or change the manpower in a way that is good for the company, and you can still continue to deliver the products and services. And but also puts the money where it should be, right? Number 14, be aware that there are financial scams. I don't know about you, but in my inbox, I have seen an incredible increase of spam financial emails, and they are very, very similar to the banks and to financial institutions. So have that in the back of your head. If I need to go to my bank, I go to their website and I log in. I no longer log in from any email through any provider. I go by myself. And that's, I'm thinking that's a way, at least it's adding a step to protect myself. And do not forget that there are community resources. Many community resources like the Eastern Chamber of Commerce, like SCORE, the city has financial resources that can help you answer questions, or we're here to answer your questions and try to help you. And with that, it's 11:42. I'm going to stop and see if there are any questions at this time.
Yes, thank you so much, Soledad. We do have one more question right now. So in light of COVID epidemic, are businesses owners having difficulty hiring employees? And what do you recommend if they are?
What, ask me again, what do I recommend that they are?
Are they having difficulty hiring employees? And if they are, what would you recommend?
Yes, there's a lot of people there are a lot of people unemployed. So there's a great source of manpower waiting to be hired. And so I think it's a matter of just looking for them. Millions of people are unemployed. So I see that there's a particular skills sometimes are difficult, but I would recommend just to try to just market it around friends and families. There is plenty of people really calling me every day, seeing if there are opportunities available for them to work. And some people also at this time are willing to try something temporarily until these, you know, we go into a new normal. So even if many executives, for example, in the oil and energy field are doing something parallel until new opportunities open. So I quit talking, keep communicating that you're looking for a specific type of person. I can guarantee you somebody will be so happy to get the opportunity to work for this person.
Oh, I agree. And then another question is with COVID, how can a company forecast realistically when everything is uncertain?
So the word forecast and the word realistic are opposite. A forecast is the best of future idea with what you know today. So I have done forecasts for 30 years and always tell people just whatever, let's start listing what I know today. And my recommendation is do a brainstorming session with sticky notes on the wall and start, what do I know today to be sure? And then add a percentage of possibility. So if I know for sure that client ABC is gonna buy me, so ABC is gonna buy me $10,000 at 100%. perfect, just hypothetical numbers. But I know that client number 3 it's 50-50. So I said $10,000 at 50%. So assign a probability, even if the probability is 10%. 10% of 10 is something. So play with the probabilities. That way, your forecast is the best that you know today, and adjust as you move forward.
Great answer. Thank you. Another question here is, when analyzing financial results, is there a rule of thumb for business owners that they should be looking at?
For that person needs to expand, if can add a little more. So is it the profit, the ratio? I'm going to try to answer the question. I think what the rule of thumb is that you have to at least look for the profit and loss. You need to look at your revenue, your cost, your profit, and see the relationship of your profit to your revenue. So if you sell 100 and your expenses are 60 and you're left with 40, at least you need to know that that 40 is the 40% of the 100% that was your sale. And I recommend that when you look at the following month, not only you look at from that rationale for that month, but you also compare it to the prior month. So if before you were making 40%, this month, if you're making 20%, you need to figure out where was the drop. And the beauty or the artistic side of the financials, you can tell I love this, right? It's where you find the whys. It's not the number by itself, but it's the reason why. If you went from 40 to 20%, why? If you went from 20% to 40%, why? Why? Because you want to do that again and again. Because if something is helping you improve your profit, you for sure want to duplicate that the following month.
Absolutely. And I see that you have your email address and your website at the bottom of your box there. I've got one more question, but I wanted to remind everybody that Soledad will share her slides on our website afterwards, so that you'll be able to go back. And then I recommend that you reach out to her, look at her website. She has other wonderful webinars that she offers that can help you. One more question we have here is that during COVID-19 and other economic downturns, marketing budget seems to be the first thing that's cut, and memberships as well. What is your recommendation for marketing budgets during this time?
Yeah, I don't recommend to cut any expenses blindly. There has to be a why and a logic. So if clients don't know that you exist, then how do you think they're going to buy and consume your products and services? So either if it's a marketing budget or a membership, for example, you need to analyze what are you getting out of that. So let's talk about memberships. Membership for the chamber. The chamber is a wonderful place, and people should continue being part of the chamber. Why? Because we are not meeting in person. Great, of course. But next year we will. But we're getting value added because we're listening to 2 webinars every month. We're connecting people because this is a place of connection. So I can go to the chamber and I said, I need to connect with somebody, and the chamber will connect me. So there's value added in my membership. I would say the same for marketing. If I disappear from the earth, how I'm going to sell my product? So I need to figure out in my marketing budget the must-have with the nice-to-have, and the must-have is where I'm going to get the higher return on the investment on that money that I'm putting in, and also where the investment that is going to generate the higher potential sales. So it can be 100,000, it can be 1,000, it can be 1,000,000. Doesn't matter. The amount is important, but the most important part is what you're getting after you put that investment into that particular expense.
Well said, well said. And closing remarks, you're welcome to do those right now, but the final question, you can maybe incorporate this into your final remarks, is what is the #1 takeaway for businesses today?
Talk about money, not your number. Get very, very familiar. This is a talk that no longer needs to be a taboo for businesses. This is not something that the accountant is responsible. This is not something that the CPA and the CFO and the controller, you, the business owner, need to sit in those meetings. And it doesn't matter that you're a great astronaut and may not be great in finance. Sit there and ask the questions. That's what the people are there for. That's what you're paying for. And you having this vision will really help you guide your company to success. If you need an expert, look for people that have experience and that have good chemistry and also have the same values. It's important that your business and personal values align with the person values, so you can take, how do you say, the horn by the bull by the
bull
horn,
by the horn. Mm-hmm.
and then direct your company to a wonderful future for you and your families and your employees.
Well said, Soledad. Thank you so much. It was an honor to have you as our guest today. Again, people go to her website and see the wonderful things that she's accomplished with her business and with our community. If you need help, give us a call. The PPP loans, the deadline is approaching very quickly, and there are funds left over for that. I did hear that there are no more funds for the EIDL loan, but you do have opportunity to apply for a PPP loan. And then there's other programs out there that we have listed on our website. So thank you all for joining us today. Visit our website for past webinars, business webinars. If you have an idea for another webinar, please email me. My email is at the corner of my box. And we thank you so much. And we'll see you next Tuesday for our next COVID-19 business webinar. Thank you, Soledad.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.